Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, the USA leg of the T20 World Cup draws to a close this weekend. Cricket in America, what's the verdict? Was it a hit or a miss? Does it leave you with some of the most memorable moments in world cricket? And will it have converted the American baseball fan? Now, I'll hope to answer these questions on the show. And speaking of verdict, what are the predictions for the European Championships that's also set to kickstart later this evening? Which football star will stand out in the quest for glory? Ronaldo, Mbappe, Harry Kane, Bellingham and more. All of them battling it out in Germany. And then, of course, there are wars raging on back home. But this bunch of fierce and fun-loving cricketers are trying to bring joy, winning one cricket battle at a time. At the T20 World Cup, Afghanistan storm into the Super 8s. A look at their journey on a bed of thorns. But first, Sports 360. Starting with cricket, England have managed to keep their dream of defending their T20 World Cup title alive. They secured a ruthless 8-wicket victory over Oman. Oman were dismissed for 47 runs in 13.2 overs, one of the lowest totals in T20 World Cup history. It took England just 19 deliveries to chase down the target and have improved their net run rate by doing so. In tennis, Wimbledon will offer a record prize money of about $64 million this year. This is an increase of 11.9, nearly 12% compared to last year. The men's and women's singles champions will each take away $3.45 million, whereas each of the players losing in the first round is set to win $76,000. Wimbledon starts on the 1st of July. 22-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal has ruled himself out of Wimbledon, a tournament he's won twice in 2008 and 2010. The Spaniard says he wants to focus on the Olympics in Paris instead. He'll partner Carlos Alcaraz for the Games. Over in football, Football Players Union, the FIFPRO, have initiated legal action against football's governing body, the FIFA. This over their decision to schedule an expanded 32-team Club World Cup in 2025. FIFPRO says it is unacceptable burden on the players in an already packed calendar. They're also challenging the legality of FIFA's action as the decision was made unilaterally. And UFC, Conor McGregor has pulled out of the much-awaited UFC 303 fight against Michael Chandler. The fight was set to take place on the 20th of June. According to reports, McGregor suffered an injury during training. The Irishman last fought Dustin Poirier in 2021, a bout that he lost. Alex Pereira has stepped in as a replacement and will fight against Jiří Procházka at the UFC 303. Cricket in the US, a concept that definitely got everyone curious and excited. The ICC managed to make enough heads turn when they announced the venues for the 2024 T20 World Cup. But has it delivered on its promises? Was the American dream for a cricket fan just that, a dream? The New York and Dallas legs are over. Just a few games in Florida are remaining, so a good time, if any, to ask this question. Was cricket in USA a hit or a miss? The biggest flex was going to be New York. The ICC, the organizers, and everyone else involved knew that New York and the Nassau Stadium were going to be the focal point of this new venture. Some of the big matches were drawn up here, especially India versus Pakistan. And what happened? From day one, the biggest talking point became that of the drop-in pitches. How India was unhappy with the pitch. The same pitches that took months to prepare, that had been flown over from Australia, groomed in Florida and dropped onto the Nassau Stadium in New York. And of course, the low-scoring matches with uneven bounce became quite the norm. There were some thrillers, yes. Even so, it isn't what you expect a T20 affair to be. I mean, yes, you want an even contest with bat and ball, but you want entertainment, the big scores. So that was a bit of a setback. Then, of course, the big one, ticket pricing. Exorbitant rates for the India matches, some of them incredulously so. We spoke about the contrast between this and other sporting events in the US, a marked difference. Sky-high rates that can deflate any new fan that you're trying to lure into the sport. Because that's ultimately the point of taking any sport to uncharted territory, isn't it? Create a new fan base to build on the already vibrant existing one. So what about those then? The existing fans. They probably would be the only ones willing to navigate the rates and the other inconveniences that came with the venues to get into the stadiums. Cricket in USA was supposed to be special for a cricket fan. But then again, the timing was not that conducive. All-day games to accommodate the worldwide broadcast. So really, it seems like a half-hearted way to try and appease as many as possible, and failing at doing so. And now we come to the weather, erratic and irregular. Florida particularly facing the brunt of showers that are threatening to derail the weekend games, the last leg. The Sunshine State has been anything but. So overall, the question I want to ask, could the glitzy New York lights wash out all these setbacks? And can you still say cricket in the US is a big thumbs up? Now, what did some of you say on social media? Let's take a look. Feels like the best part about cricket in USA has been the way the USA cricket team has been performing, one that was least expected much from. But here's the heartbreaking part. The point of something new is to see it being used more, like building something for the future. Like the MLC, Major League Cricket is coming up, so any infrastructure could have been put in place keeping that in mind, the wearability and the longevity of it. Even as I speak, there are cranes and bulldozers demolishing the makeshift Nassau ground. Everything is being torn down to put it back to how it was, to be used by the public, from Cricket Stadium back to Eisenhower Park. The modular components of the stadium will be dismantled and repurposed. The thing that will remain, though, will be the much controversial drop-in pitches and the turf. And of course, you know this was bound to happen. But just to give you a picture of what it took to raise it all in the first place, the construction of the Nassau Stadium reportedly cost $30 million. They flew the grandstand from the LA Grand Prix that was used, so that will be returned, sent back. It also includes the 10 drop-in pitches that they got made for the venue and the practice areas. Now, a couple of drop-in pitches from Australia is set to cost anywhere between $200,000 to $500,000. All of this in total is a lot of money for just a few weeks of cricket and then, of course, a repurposed mandate. It's safe to say that the venture of taking cricket far and wide was great to hear and see, and probably did not achieve the kind of results that it would have hoped to. It's tough to balance every aspect while pulling off a tournament of this magnitude. But have they really won over Americans, which I'm guessing was one of the key objectives of this? Or was it just to get the wow factor going? Maybe the Big Apple cricket experiment was something like the Newton moment. The calculations may have been there and the anticipation of it all pointing to a gravity-defining moment. But in this case, the apple just didn't drop. The one heartening story coming out of the Cricket World Cup has been this one. Afghanistan is no underdog side, yes, but you cannot really evaluate this team's performance on the world stage alongside many of the top flight teams in cricket. Afghanistan earlier today sealed their place in the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup with a win over Papua New Guinea. And with that, they knocked out the semi-finalists of the T20 World Cup from the last edition, New Zealand. A brilliant performance by a side that has been slotted into the long shot to the knockouts category for a long time now. And rightfully so. Their best performance at T20 World Cups have just been the next round, the second stage of the tournament. They've never reached the semi-finals or any knockouts of any of the World Cups they've featured in so far. So Afghanistan superseding a side like New Zealand, who have been regulars in knockout stages, to enter the Super 8s is huge. Now, why do I keep reiterating this? Despite witnessing top-notch skills from this lot, it's because of what they had to fight to get here, what they've had to go through and still play on. The circumstances make a player or a team, we know that, and this bunch has showed great character in the face of adversities of every kind. What have they been? The most important roadblock: lack of exposure and opportunities. Now, ever since the takeover of Taliban, it has been unsure times for any sporting venture to really flourish or even dream to do something in Afghanistan. There were questions raised on whether Afghanistan's full membership of the ICC should be reviewed. This because of Taliban's aggressive stance on women's cricket in their country. Reason why Australia cancelled their tour, why there haven't been countries touring. Everyone knew about this, and they've become a bit of a cricket pariah in some sense because of this regime. So there is close to no competitive cricket in their own country. You need to continue playing to hone and improve your skills at the international level, to even earn a living. So what do you do beyond the ICC events and the odd bilaterals? You need to play against good sides to be able to compete at the highest level. So all the growth and learning for these players is happening via T20 leagues the world over. Almost all of them, all of the Afghan cricketers are top stars in various T20 leagues around the world, which keeps them pushing. Next, of course, lack of infrastructure. They do not have the best facilities compared to a lot of top sides like England, Australia, and of course, India. Their training facilities were in fact in India before COVID hit and then shifted to the UAE. In fact, many of the cricketers post the Taliban takeover fled to reside in the UAE, so training at least becomes a little convenient. They fear for their families, most of whom still stay away. It's in such circumstances that they train. So it's not the best infrastructure, but that will have to do. The lack of finances coming into cricket in their country just adds on to this too. Who will invest in Afghanistan cricket? Despite all these complications, cricket has continued to exist. For these Afghans, the hurdles have not tied them down or quashed their desire to keep fighting and prove themselves, like they did last year in the 2023 ODI World Cup. They would have snuffed out Australia to seal a place in the semi-finals had it not been for that 1 in a million Glenn Maxwell knock. Only something miraculous to stop Afghanistan in their tracks. Otherwise, they were brilliant. And everywhere they went in India, the crowds supported them, cheered them on. They recognized the resilience and the grit that was coming through. And no, they did not sing the sob story of their lives or their cricketing careers or ask for our sympathies. They smiled through it all. They're together in this and stay united. They enjoy each other's success stories and celebrate one another. Like you see in these pictures, Fazalhaq Farooqi was giving a post-match interview and Rashid Khan was there to tease and pull his leg, bringing laughter all around. It was in fact Rashid Khan who first led the charge when it came to Afghanistan and T20 cricket, the first to surge into the most lucrative cricket league in the world, the Indian Premier League, and that was in 2017. He opened the floodgates for the rest.
Before 2017, we never thought about playing the IPL. It was hard thought for us to even think of playing in the biggest T20 league in the world. The hardest part is to get into the system, and when I first got the opportunity, I knew, okay, I got that opportunity now. I have to do the best where it helps me promote my cricket and also help my country where youngsters can get inspired to get into cricket more and more.
Rashid Khan has been an inspiration, a spin bowling all-rounder who, along with a few others, have forged the bowling backbone of the unit. In fact, that has been the other remarkable aspect about this performance in this tournament. Afghanistan cricket always stood for spin. It symbolized a group of spinners choking the opposition batters. But this World Cup has seen the rise of young pace bowlers, standing tall and making things happen, creating victories and historic moments on the field. They've rewritten their script as a contender and telling the world that the underdog tag doesn't fit them anymore. And if there is any story you want to follow in this World Cup, it has to be the rise of the men's Afghanistan cricket team. Just when you thought, where is that competitive football action? It's Euros time. Germany is hosting 23 teams and football stars are going to battle it out to earn top honours. Everyone under one roof. Cristiano Ronaldo, Kylian Mbappe, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Toni Kroos. It won't be Saudi League, Serie A, the Premier League, Bundesliga or La Liga. All of them will be competing for the Euros trophy. So which hero will shine the brightest at this Europe's biggest stage? Now, it will be last time that we'll see Toni Kroos playing for Germany, probably Cristiano Ronaldo and Luka Modric for one last time in the Euros. A transitional Euros then, if you could call it that. That's what former English footballer and expert on Sony Sports for the Euros, Mark Seagraves too, believed when he spoke to us.
I'm looking forward to out with the old and in with the new. You know, the players that are coming through, Florian Wirtz, Musiala, Foden, Bellingham. We're not talking about Cristiano Ronaldo anymore, although we will do today. They're the ones now, they're in the past. We've got to look for the future.
Out with the old and in with the new, so more reason for contests to be intense. And we cannot escape talking about Ronaldo, can we? Especially at this edition. Ronaldo may be gunning for another international trophy. Now, how else do we know this? Now, if there was ever a warning to the rest, this is it. Ronaldo announcing his intentions loud and clear. And he may be one of the biggest stars in the tournament, but does he still have it in him to take Portugal across to the finish? Saudi was a dream. He was the highest goal scorer in the league this year. But can he replicate that charm and that performance in Europe? The underlying theme is indeed out with the old and in with the new, like France's Kylian Mbappe. With the PSG exit done and dusted and Real Madrid deal sealed, Mbappe is a free man and his focus is now Euros, particularly with him claiming that this one is a very difficult tournament to excel in. It's maybe time to conquer that and make it a cool achievement in his overflowing resume. But standing in his way is a former Real Madrid star. Toni Kroos won't just be a German player, but a player set to play his last tournament as an international footballer. And you know what happens when Toni Kroos does that. His last club tournament was the Champions League, and here's how that went. And with the national sentiment strong, he won't let Mbappe get away with the trophy at least that easily. Another expert at Sony Sports who will be commentating through the Euros, former Man City footballer Terry Phelan, weighs in on Germany's contention in this edition.
It's going to be a spectacle, especially after what's happened in the world of football with COVID in the past time. We've had a lot of football, really, haven't we? We've just had the Champions League. I think it's in Germany, and we know the Germans haven't been the greatest, have they, in the recent tournament? So maybe it could be their time. What's different from other Euros? Obviously, we've come into a new era. We've got new exciting players coming in now, haven't we? You know, we've seen new exciting young players coming into the fold, all on different clubs, from different clubs and from different countries. So I think for me, really, can England bring it home?
Ooh, and then we, of course, get into England and the star who can take them home, this time at least, the man who carries the world's burden. Harry Kane. Talk England plus Euros, and that is pressure. And he has, of course, the task to end England's nightmare. That's on Harry Kane. But can he really do that? Kane was the highest goal scorer in Bundesliga, But his team, Bayern, lost every tournament they played in, giving fresh legs to the Harry Kane curse analogy. Will that follow him here too? But this time he has help from Real Madrid star Jude Bellingham, who won the Champions League, La Liga, and was instrumental in Madrid's success. So maybe Bellingham can break the Harry Kane curse. And even the odds are interesting here. England are the favourites here, but of course the only way you can win big, plus 350 in their favour, narrowly ahead of France, and of course then come in Germany, followed by Portugal coming in right after. Those are the top 4 contenders as far as the odds go for the title winners. Now, one of the biggest football competitions is meant to generate memorable moments. Players live for that. Fans wait to witness historic plays that they will live to talk about and cherish. And that's what Euros promises. And which of these stars will give back some glorious flashes of brilliance that everyone is waiting for? Time for Last Serve. We end the week with an inspiring story. Indonesia gets its very first Olympic gymnast. 24-year-old Rifda Irfana Lufti has qualified for the Paris Games. This after a series of setbacks. Take a look. That wraps up First Sports today and this week. Have a good weekend. I'll see you again over on Monday. Bye.
Fan of Italy's famous cuisine? Well, we are serving it with a side of diplomacy. As the G7 leaders gather in southern Italy, Vantage is taking you to the heart of the action. What's the agenda? Who is invited? And how is Italy preparing for it? Catch the special edition of Vantage throughout this week, only on Firstpost. Fan of Italy's famous cuisine? Well, we are serving it with a side of diplomacy. As G7 leaders gather in southern Italy, Vantage is taking you to the heart of the action. What's the agenda? Who is invited? And how is Italy preparing for it? Catch the special edition of Vantage throughout this week, only on Firstpost.
A first-of-a-kind sports show that's played on a different turf. A first-of-a-kind sports show that will always come up with a winner. Are you looking for perspectives that go beyond the scoreline? Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani, and catch a 360-degree view of the sporting world with me here on Firstpost in our special First Sports.